Oh, it's time again for another edition of Harry TV. Oh, looking at the life of Jesus. We're looking at the life of Jesus, and we're looking at Mark's Gospel. And we're going to start today in Mark chapter 13. Oh, Jesus is talking about and predicts the destruction of the temple. The temple in Jerusalem. Let's begin in verse 1 of chapter 13. As he was going out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, look, what massive stones, what impressive buildings." Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left upon another. All will be thrown down." Look throughout Jerusalem. Look at these marvelous buildings made of stone. How impressive are these buildings of stone? They're so huge, they're so large. He says, look at those buildings. You see these great buildings? Not one of these buildings, not one of them, will be left upon another. They will all be thrown down. They will all be utterly destroyed. It don't matter how massive they are, how impressive they are. They're all coming down. They're all coming down. Let's read on. Verse 3. While he was sitting on the Mount of Olives across from the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign when all these things are about to be accomplished?" Here's what Jesus told them. "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and they will deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, don't be alarmed. These things must take place, but it is not yet the end. For nation will rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginning of birth pains." The beginning of birth pains. When these buildings in Jerusalem are torn down, there's going to be wars, rumors of wars. He says, don't be deceived. There's going to be people claiming to be me, claiming that they are the Messiah. And all the famines in various places, earthquakes will take place. Earthquakes will take place in places where earthquakes haven't taken place before. He's talking about the destruction of Jerusalem that occurred in 70 AD. 70 AD. This is what he's talking about. Jerusalem's going to be brought down. He gives them further warning about these times. But you, be on guard. Be on your guard. They will hand you over to local courts, and you will be flogged in the synagogues. You will stand before governors and kings because of me, as a witness to them. And it is necessary that the gospel be preached to all nations. So when they arrest you and hand you over, don't worry, beforehand what you will say, but say whatever is given to you at that time. For it isn't you speaking, but it's the Holy Breath. God will be speaking through you. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children rise up against parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by everyone because of my name. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. Listen, even before the destruction of Jerusalem, he says, be on your guard, because you're going to be persecuted. You're going to be taken before kings and governors because of the preaching of the gospel, because you're preaching the good news that I, the Messiah, came and lived in this world. I, God, became a human being. You're going to be preaching this. You're going to be arrested. You're going to be beaten. He said, the gospel, the good news about the Messiah, your Messiah has come. God has lived among you as a human being. This word, this preaching must go out to all the world. All the then known world. At that time, there had come a time when all the then known world, the apostles still living, had heard the gospel. It had gone out to all the world that was known of. Even down in Spain, they heard the gospel. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rise up against parents and have them put to death. You're going to be hated by everyone because of my name, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. Everyone's going to turn against the other. There's going to be hatred in the world like nobody's ever seen. Horrible things are going to happen and take place. And these things he's talking about happened before the destruction of Jerusalem. Before Jerusalem was destroyed. And we know the kingdom of God came down and was set up before Jerusalem was destroyed. And we read about it in Acts chapter 2. The kingdom of God is a spiritual kingdom. But in order for the times to be fulfilled, the physical kingdom had to be taken down. And it was taken down and destroyed. Not one brick, not one rock upon another. It was all destroyed. He says that time is coming. And then he talks about the Great Tribulation. In verse 14 of Mark 13. When you see the abomination of desolation standing where it should be, let the reader understand. Then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. A man on the housetop must not come down or go to get anything out of his house. And a man in the field must not go back to get his coat. Woe to pregnant women and nursing mothers in those days. Pray it won't happen in winter. For those will be days of tribulation, the kind that hasn't been from the beginning of creation until now and never will be again. If the Lord had not cut those days short, no one would be saved. But he cut those days short for the sake of the elect, whom he chose. Then if anyone tells you, see, here is the Messiah, see there, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will arise and will perform signs and wonders to lead astray, if possible, the elect. And you must watch. I have told you everything in advance. If those days had not been cut short, even the very elect would not have been saved. Those by election, meaning those that have come to Jesus. The apostles and other disciples who listened to them and accepted Jesus. The elect, that's who the elect are, is Christians, believers in Jesus Christ as the Son of God. If those times had not been cut short, not one person would have been saved. Not one. He said, there's going to be false prophets, false messiahs, claiming to be the Messiah. And if you read in Josephus, the great historian Josephus, he tells about those times when the destruction of Jerusalem came in 70 AD. All these things that Jesus talked about, he shows proofs of in his history. Those things happened in 70 AD. How horrible it must have been to have lived during those times. To watch the destruction of Jerusalem. To watch the wars going on and people fighting, people hating, brother against brother. Children having their own parents murdered. You know, we can read of times now at times when we find that there are those that killed their parents in our day and time. But it was rampant all over the place. How sad. But listen to what he says in verse 24. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not shed its light. The stars will be falling from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds, with great power and glory. He will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. This happened. A lot of people say, oh, that time's coming. This is talking about when Jesus comes, his second coming. But no, this happened when the sun was darkened. The moon turned to blood. The powers in the heavens will be shaken. All these things happened when Jesus went to the cross. When he died on the cross, everything went dark. Pitch black dark. Not the sun, not the moon, not the stars, not anything in the heavens was shining. It was all dark. Said in those days the sun will be darkened and the moons will not shed its light. The stars will be falling from the sky. You know, you see a falling star nowadays occasionally, but man, there were hundreds, just literally hundreds, possibly thousands of stars fell from the sky. The coming of the Son of Man. The elect. He will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the heavens, ends of the earth, and to the ends of heaven. He gathered up his elect, and those elect that did not survive that, they went to be with Jesus. They went to a heavenly reward. The Great Tribulation was the destruction of Jerusalem and all the things that happened in 70 AD. In Matthew, when we read of this same occasion, in Matthew 25, it says, this generation shall not pass away till all these things have been accomplished. And it talks about the coming of the Son of Man, the coming of Jesus. And all these things shall be accomplished while this generation is still living. Who was he talking to in Matthew? He was talking to the Jews. Okay? This generation of Jews that was living at that time were still alive when these things happened. Matthew related that to us. So we know all these things that happened, including the coming of the Son of Man. His kingdom came down. Some 50 days later, after Jesus died on the cross and was raised, some 50 days later, he brought his kingdom down to earth to live in the hearts and reign inside of all those who believe in him and accept him. They are his kingdom. Believe it. It happened. Verse 28. Learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its branches becomes tender and sprouts leaves, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see these things happening, recognize that he is near, at the door. Truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. See, here it is. Mark himself says, this generation, those that are living then, those that are living at the time that Mark wrote his gospel, will not pass away until all these things have been accomplished, including the Son of Man. The destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD is what this is talking about. And that generation of people was still living. They saw all these things. Truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. There were those that were still living when all these things took place, talking about 70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem. And Jesus came down, the Son of Man. Jesus died on the cross to save you and I. To save all who would believe that he is God, that he is who he claimed to be. Verse 32, now concerning that day or hour no one knows, neither angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Watch, be alert, for you don't know when the time is coming. It is like a man on a journey who left his house, gave authority to his servants, and gave each one his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to be alert. Therefore be alert, since you don't know when the master of the house is coming, whether in the evening, or at midnight, or at the crowing of the rooster, or early in the morning. Otherwise, when he comes, suddenly he might find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to everyone, be alert. Be alert. Quit your sleeping. Quit your sleeping. He's talking about know what the will of God is. Be prepared. There is a time when Jesus will have a final coming. And he will be here. But all the things up until this time, including the coming of the Son of Man, all of that was 70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem. Now concerning that day or hour, no one knows. Neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Watch, be alert, for you don't know when the time is coming. It's going to come as a thief in the night. So beware, watch out. And that time did come in 70 AD. Now there is a time coming. And Peter talks about it. Paul talks about it, Thessalonians. There is a time coming when those that belong to Jesus will meet him in the air, and ever will we be with the Lord. At the confirmation of all things. If we are in Jesus, we're going to meet him in the air. If we don't know him, we won't. That's the one thing we're waiting for. But as far as all these things, they occurred. Jerusalem is destroyed. Not one stone left on another. There are those claiming that we're going to rebuild. We're going to help Jerusalem, help them rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. But no, you're not. Because the temple in Jerusalem is not a place of worship anymore. It's not a place of prostration to God. The place of prostration to God is in your heart. It's inside of you. That's where prostration is. Wherever you are, anywhere in the world, you can know Jesus. And you can come to Jesus. You're not going to be prostrating in the temple in Jerusalem. It's not going to be rebuilt. It's been utterly destroyed once and for all. The temple of God is now in the hearts of those that believe and accept Jesus Christ as Lord. Come to Jesus. Believe in Jesus today. Look at God's plan for mankind below. Implement it into your life. Give your heart to Jesus today. It's not in a place. It's not in a place. It's inside of you. Will you come to Jesus today? Come to Jesus. Accept Jesus. He is the God of heaven who came down, died on the cross, and was raised. And we're waiting for the confirmation when we will be taken up in glory. Be taken up. He's not going to reign physically on this earth. He's going to take us up, and ever will we be with the Lord. But He's preparing us now. Will you be ready? God bless. I'll talk to you next time.